Nung una ito, dalawa lang sila. Dumating ang mga taon hanggang sa 2010, umabot na sila ng 80,000 pesos. Ako si Edie McCoy Esparis. Nakatira po ako dito sa Balin sa Sayaw House.
Okay, before we go any further, this is a swiftlet. It's a small brown and black bird whose nests are a highly sought-after delicacy. Here in the Philippines, people eat them in a soup called, well, bird's nest soup. Typically, these nests are found high up on cliffs, super hard to get to.
Nagbibinta ako, umaabot ng 10,000 noon pa, at 20,000.
So when these birds moved in, Eddie didn't kick them out. Instead, he gave them half his home.
Nang nagsimula silang tumira dito, 1993, doon sila sa first floor ng ating bahay, doon sila nakatira, isang kwarto sila. Nest nila, sa bunganga nila, hindi nalabas, parang salayba. Kasi tigas yan ng epoxy. Pag binabad mo ng 10 minutes or 20 minutes sa tubig, nagiging parang sago.
So they boil it, add some veggies, a bit of meat, and voila! Bird's nest soup.
Pero ang sabi nung nakakain, ang epekto, kaya sa akin, nakakain ako ng epekto, lalakas yung katawan mo. Problema lang dito sa amin, yung hindi nyo napapansin or nila, yung amoy nung kwarto nila. Kasi para daw mentol or Vicks na pumapasok sa ilong, ang iba hindi kaya.
Understandably so. Some people, they just can't appreciate the smell of 80,000 birds worth of droppings. But Eddie and the swiftlets have an arrangement.
Ang relasyon namin ng ibon, as a friend na lang kami kasi nandito naman sila nakatira sa bahay. Parang boarders. Binabayaran din nila ang pagtira nila dyan.
Every time I take my eagle out, I get butterflies in my stomach. It's this dichotomy between a heavy bird on your fist that just instantly becomes lighter than air. You get to cultivate a really unique relationship. There are very few people flying eagles in the United States, and of that, only a handful of women. But my very good friend Jamaica is beginning her journey into eagle falconry.
The ability to be mentored by a woman, I thought that that was something unique, that I shouldn't pass up that opportunity.
Falconry is the ancient art and tradition of using a trained bird of prey to hunt its natural quarry in the wild. I spent a lot of time in Mongolia apprenticing under Kazakh eagle hunters. When I started, I felt pretty out of place. Because I didn't have that hunting experience and I was a girl, it made me really fortify my passion and persevere because it was hard in the beginning.
I've admired her from the very beginning. Her journey into falconry was different than most. The gumption she had as a teenager to go to Mongolia and learn about eagle falconry, that's a rare thing.
Hey, boy.
Attaboy. A little over a year ago, I got a call from a friend who had found an eagle standing in the road about a mile from my house. It was close to death. So I took it to the vet that afternoon and participated in rescuing that eagle. Falconry is pretty much the only way at this point that we know for sure allows that eagle a reasonable chance at survival by helping them through that period where they're learning how to catch things. I made it my life's mission to get an eagle permit and acquire an eagle through an established rehab program that works with falconers. There's a lot of knowledge involved in falconry. There's also a lot of ways to do it wrong. It's really not necessarily instinctive. I would not want to get into eagle falconry without a good mentor to contact.
There you go.
Knowing that Lauren was available to be a mentor to me was a huge part of being willing to make that decision.
To get inside the mind of an eagle the first time it can be a difficult experience. You just have to find your bearings and understand where an eagle is coming from in order to create a good, fit, confident hunting eagle. So essentially that's what I'm helping Jamaica do. When you find someone that has that passion and is willing to share it with you, it's really a special thing.
The bond that you develop with someone who gives of you their time the way that Lauren is giving to me will be something I'll treasure forever. And hopefully someday I'll pass that on to somebody else.
New York's a tough city to live in. It always has been. Wait, see if you can hear them. The old saying, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. I think because the birds have made it here. I mean, they've endured this far. My name is Steve Baldwin, and I've been tracking the wild parrots of Brooklyn for about 10 years now. Those two look sort of frisky. It's not really their mating season, but Myopsida monachus, the monk parakeet, native to Argentina, and as far as we know, something happened at Kennedy Airport in 1967 or 1968. It appears that a crate full of parrots arrived from Argentina. Something went wrong. A bunch of them escaped. They came to Brooklyn College right here. We've got an incredible cast of parrots here today. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're smaller than a pigeon, but larger than a sparrow. And they're the only kind of parrots that build these freestanding structures. These nests can get up to the size of small cars.
It's methodical work. It's twig after twig after twig.
Parrots are sort of the primates of the bird world. They're smart, they're communicative. They eat almost anything that's available to them, so they're perfectly set up really to thrive in a place like Brooklyn. Even though it's not where they came from, they've adapted extremely well. You have to, I think, have a certain fiber of steel to make it in this town, and I think the parrots have those qualities.
If you go into the water and you see a great white shark, what's your reaction? You're not going to think twice. You're hauling ass to get out of there. Falcons are the great white shark of the sky, and birds are terrified of them. My name is Mark Adam. I am the president of Falcon Environmental Services. Our company uses the world's oldest sport, falconry, to protect planes in flight. Birds can be really dangerous to airplanes. If a gull strikes an engine, it can potentially stop it, in which case the aircraft can come out of the sky. There are multiple methods that airports can use to control birds. Sirens, another very common one is pyrotechnics. Birds are not dumb. They get used to that stuff. But one thing that they can never get used to is the instinctive fear of a falcon. Here we raise falcons, and when they hatch out, we rear them for 3 or 4 days and put them back with the parents. The skills that we use to train our raptors date back to 3000 BC when falconry was first introduced, utilizing hoods, jesses, and conditioning methods. The birds are trained for about 30 to 60 days, where then they go out to our airport operations. On a given day, they are requested numerous times by the control tower to intervene at specific spots on the airfield, at which time the falcon is deployed and it is allowed to fly around the airport until the birds have been dispersed. When the falconer wants the falcon to come back, all he has to do is take out the lure, which has a piece of food on it, swing it around his head, and the falcon will come in order to be fed. I enjoy bird watching, but I find falconry almost like a chance to see something that happens every day in the wild, but I get a chance to see it up close every day.
In the United Kingdom, you may eat ducks, chickens, geese, and nah, not these. They all belong to the Queen. Well,
all swans in the United Kingdom can belong to the Queen, but she mainly exercises this right on the River Thames.
of course, sorry.
My name's David Barber and I look after the swans wherever the Queen exercises her royal prerogative right. It's not a full-time job, although sometimes it feels like a full-time job.
Every year, Mr. Barber runs a census of the swans for Her Majesty, a bit like an annual checkup. This is called swan-upping, and he does it with a whole crew. Like this guy, and this guy.
Swan-upping has taken place since the 12th century, where swans in those days were actually a very, very important food. Of course, today, swans are a protected species and no longer eaten. We travel in 6 traditional rowing skiffs from Sunbury-on-Thames all the way up to Abingdon, and it's about a 79-mile journey.
What do we say when we see a swan? All up, all up.
Each family of swans we come across, we will circle the skiffs around them, we will tie the wings in their legs, we will take them ashore, we will weigh them, measure them and check them for any injuries. After we've done that, we will put a ring on them and we will release them back into the river.
So if these are the Queen's swans, where is Her Majesty for all of this?
She did come swan up in a few years ago and hopefully she enjoyed it. She seemed to enjoy it, but I can't answer for the Queen anyway. I love swans, a royal bird. People here in the United Kingdom, they love them. And you know, I want to make sure that they survive for the future.
All right, gents, let's toast.
The Queen! The Queen!